Goldman Sachs just told us hedge funds sold global equities at the fastest pace in 13 years this past month, bailing. They're going short. They're scared. But you know what? Financial Twitter wasn't reading that memo whatsoever. While the big money was running for the exits, FinTwit had a completely different shopping list. We're going to go over that here. This week on FinX, I'm going through the 5 names that dominated the conversation of Financial X and the options market, really. With the actual news driven by each one. So the chart setups and whether or not any of these actually make sense right now. So let's see what the trading community was really doing. Firstly, how do we find these FinX names? We track options volume data from the market, Rebellion, institutional flow proxy, basically. Cross-reference with StockTwits, which are the most active, plus trending on Financial X, names that appear consistently across both, which equals real buzz, not just noise. They're not really in my basket. These are community names. However, that means you have to trade with appropriate position sizing, per usual though. And then hard roll, no name is under $5. Penny stocks are automatically filtered out. So if you're a penny stock trader, this ain't for you. Sorry about it. All right, so the news, name number 1, Nike. They reported quarter 3 fiscal year 2026 earnings on March 31st, and it was very ugly. Profits fell about 35% over year over year. This is why it was down 15% on the day. Pretty wild, actually. Sales technically beat estimates, but nobody really cared. The guidance was the kill shot. Revenue guided down 2 to 4% next quarter, and down low single digits for the rest of the calendar year. China business is kind of crumbling. The market is in a major drag, really. And the CEO, Elliott Hill, had kind of to rally the staff internally after the print. So Bloomberg reported he was frustrated with the stalled recovery. And an analyst, they kind of downgraded and piled on to the next morning. So why is it buzzing? Nike hit the options report 2 days in a row, April 2nd and April 6th. Stock is at 9-year lows. Profits are down 35%. So the debate is this a generational buy or a falling knife? The turnaround thesis is still alive. Hill is the right person, but the numbers aren't there yet. Consumer discretionary under macro pressure, while oil is at $112. So that's kind of pressuring the entire market, and the Iran war is dragging on. Go watch my other weekly video. I cover this. So really, like, is this a falling knife? For me, I wouldn't touch this. You want to zoom out. Here's the important prior support level. So prior, let me draw this out for you real quick. So this area, that was pretty important to hold. You can see it gapped below. It really like closed under it and then retested. It already gapped below it. I wouldn't be chasing this if I were you. Everything is pointing down. It's far below the 200 Nike. If you're a value investor, sure, maybe. But honestly, with this look, I would expect further downside. How far can it go? Goodness gracious. I mean, next area of interest, I would be looking for it for like a retest, for it to at least hold, would be this area here. It's got to get back above at least $49-50. Otherwise, you know, maybe even it sells off to $40 or so. That could be the next level. So I'd be mindful here about trying to catch this. I'd say the $40 level is an area of interest somewhere around there until something changes, though. What you could do is anchor a VWAP to the earnings and then kind of trade off of that. So for example, what I mean is if you want to go down to a 30-minute time frame, which I already did, put a VWAP for the day there and just see how price reacts to that. I would be looking for shorts personally on that. Even if it pops up to here, I'd look to short the high of the earnings day. All right, number 2, SMCI. I talked about this last week. It's under a lot of serious legal heat right now. Multiple class action lawsuits filed this week. Leading plaintiff deadline May 26 of 2026. SEC compliance issues and accounting scrutiny. This isn't new, but it's still escalating. Taking a look at the chart here on the daily. So that's kind of where that gap down came from Friday. last week, the 20th, or maybe it was a couple of weeks ago, a week and a half or so. Yeah, 2 weeks ago. It's just been chopping and consolidating around. You can see that it's tagging the declining 8 EMA. The 21 EMA is down. The 50 EMA is down. The 200 EMA is down. I still think you're trying to catch a falling knife here. I don't think this is necessarily a place to be still, simply because of the macro environment that you're looking at. So analysts, they've been lowering price targets despite all of this. The stock, it still bounced 3.15% or so on the second, on heavy-ish volume. Actually, it's not even that important. I would honestly, this doesn't look good. This one I don't think is the best place to focus on for you, honestly. All right, moving on. INTC. This is ranging here. You can see it's in a big old range. Look below, fail, opposite end range is target. So it's kind of doing that now. I don't think it's something to be trading just yet while it's bopping around here. It's showing indecision. What you could do if you are a range trader, you could maybe risk this $50 area or wait for a break of this high here, right here on the 3rd of February, 51.49. If it wants to cut it and then reclaim it, then you can risk somewhere wherever that price would be, and then trade somewhere the retrace of halfway of the range or maybe even the opposite end. But really, it's not doing anything. So that's a potential trade setup. But overall, I think the backdrop of this is pretty decent. Intel made a major move. The CEO Lip-Bu Tan announced a 14.2 billion buyback of its Ireland fab, 34 joint venture stake from Apollo Global. This is really part of Tan's aggressive restructuring, taking back full control of its key manufacturing. So the stock is surging. It looks pretty good. INTC has rallied over 150% since the 2024 lows. And Tan has also been slashing bureaucracy, cutting jobs, and pivoting towards like a foundry model. So really the concern is it's trading at 50x forward earnings with negative free cash flow. The stock is pricing in a turnaround overall, though, and also this is kind of an AI trade as well. So why is FinTwit buzzing? Basically, the $14.2 billion Ireland deal was a genuine catalyst. It shows Tan is serious. FinTwit loves a turnaround narrative and the legacy names, really. So it looks pretty interesting. I would wait for it to actually set up, maybe breakout and retest. Next one is Sandisk. This one has been a strong name. It's been consolidating. It broke out. It failed to break out. So from failed moves comes fast move. Opposite end range is target. It basically did that, and now it's coming back. Higher volumes on green days is coming back to that breakout level. So it actually looks pretty decent. So it's a story of the week that most people are talking about. Sandisk spun off from the Western Digital in February 2025, around $40 per share. So it's up quite a bit. Q3 earnings call scheduled for April 30th to 2026. So that's kind of the next catalyst coming up. I'd keep this one on watch. Like, out of the ones that I'm going to go through, this is one you actually need to watch out for. I have been saying, hey, one day this is going to be a good short. That day has yet to come, but it's had a huge move. Let's go to the weekly here. Look at this, an absolutely monster move since August of 2025. You want to go from, let's just go from September 2025, somewhere around there to the highs. Look at that, 1,500% move in how many weeks here? Add on 2 here in about 30 weeks. So that's a huge move. This is how sustainable this is. I don't know. I can't answer that. It can obviously continue to go up, but you must manage your risk. It's a must. All right, Mara. This one was buzzing around this week, made massive controversial pivot this week. So I've actually been listening to a gentleman named Jordy Weiss here. He kind of was talking about this pivot. The company sold approximately $1.1 billion worth of Bitcoin, which is roughly 33% of their holdings. They also laid off 15% of their entire workforce. The stated reason, they are pivoting away from pure play Bitcoin mining towards AI and energy. So the company reported a $1.3 billion loss. But here's a twist. The stock surged 8.3% right there, 8.3% on the second, basically hitting an intraday high. The market is interpreting the AI pivot as positive. So looking at it chart wise, you can see that it's actually started to consolidate here. This could be a level to potentially risk against. You can risk against its 766 or even really this 666 low. Anything within here, I think this general area, this general consolidation area is a demand zone. I would be, a matter of fact, I'm actually going to set an alert down here and see if, actually, I'm going to delete that. Let me set the alert price wise. See if we get an undercut of these lows somewhere around in there. That could be a potential buy. But overall, you have to understand that the 50 EMA, it's still down. The 200 EMA is still down. The indecision is coming from the 8 and 21. So short term, this is still indecision. But if you want to go, I don't think this is a good short term trade. If you are wanting, look at this, look where this bounced at, right? This is why you always look left. If you want to go at a long-term play, this is never financial advice, but just potentials here. It's over $5 as well. So this is interesting. I'd say honestly, the best look that you should pay attention to this week specifically is SNDK. Overall, though, go watch my other video this week. I'm not too confident on the overall market. Let's go over the prior history. I went through and cleaned this up. I took a lot of names out that I don't think apply anymore. TSM, always one to watch. BE, Bloom Energy, this is breaking below here. Is back in this consolidation zone. This could be a bear trap, a look below and fail, and oopsies, whatever you want to call it. This could bounce back and just from failed moves comes fast moves. So a possible target of 167, it could be in the cards. ONDS broke this level here, but it's maintaining here. There's nothing I don't think you can do actionable just yet, but I'm keeping it on the radar simply for future watching, because the potential for it to be a kind of a staple, something to watch in the future, it could be a good name. Same thing with Zeta. LRCX not really doing anything. Arc Rocket. So I think the space AI, solar energy, that's going to be the theme moving forward. Planet Labs had some pretty big news this past week. I forget what it was. SpaceX, number one, the entire space industry is going to get some push from this. So I would keep an eye on Planet Labs also. It actually looks pretty darn good, very strong. It kind of retested the prior breakout area. Went a little bit deeper than wanted, but that's okay. Tagged the 50 EMA and now had huge push on volume. What you could do is you could set an anchor. Let's look on a shorter time frame real quick. Set an anchor VWAP from this push day and watch how price respects it. And you can find some individual levels to risk against. Really just watch the 37. I would, maybe we break above the 37, find some supply and get a little bit of pullback. I would wait for a pullback on this. You could get a second day continuation on this on Monday, but overall, you really just have to wait and see how the market plays out and how things open. Otherwise, let's continue on. Target looks pretty decent. It's trending upwards still. It's holding these levels. It held basically the range is back out of that range. So it looks okay. Nothing super actionable. USAR, I'm keeping in there because rare earths might be important. FLNC, the only reason why I kept this is because it's at an interesting level. So that could hold there. LAR, let's move on. PayPal, it could be consolidating here. A nice little rounding bottom might be forming here. You can see that it has a little bit of a curve to it. So let's see if that fills out and starts trending upwards. Overall, though, the 50 is going down, the 200 is going down. It has work to do. You need to watch for a reversal. VRT, this gap up, it is yet to be remained. It is holding well. It's just kind of sloppy. Coin, let's move on. KTOS is at an interesting level of support. I'm moving through these because these aren't super interesting just yet. HWM, watch this one. I'd watch to see if this low right here set an anchor VWAP to it. and see how price pulls back to respect that. You can see that it already pulled back. So as long as it continues to hold that, I'm looking for a potential higher low, or even like our inverse head and shoulders, something that's, maybe retest the 227 area. Ideally doesn't break it if you want a true head and shoulders, something around this area, this 229, to set a higher low and continue on, and then maybe break this downtrend line. That could be a potential. But as of right now, still failing at the 50 EMA. So just be mindful of that. Okay. Next, let's move on. Rivian got a huge, some good investments from other companies. I'm forgetting the Uber, and there was another one off the top of my head. But either way, you can see this support area. It is indeed holding. Maybe the heartbreaker. I always, kind of playfully make fun of individuals that always trade this, or are long-term holders. It's always a heartbreaker. So this could be a genuine area of interest to buy in Rivian, but overall still sloppy. COHR coherent, looking pretty good, flagging. You got to wait for the downtrend line and maybe a little break in conversation for confirmation. GEV is rolling. It's at all-time, 5% off all-time highs. Not a big deal. Hood, it did break these lows. It's kind of retesting. Could be a bear trap, a look below, and oopsies. From failed moves comes fast moves. So keep Hood on the radar this week, but overall, just be mindful. 50's down. You got a death cross here if you pay attention to that. 200's down. 8 is down. 21 is down. So you're going against the trend. This could also be a bear trap from failed moves lower from this consolidation comes fast moves. I would say, if we get follow through tomorrow, target would be 76.83 sometime this week. Basically this range, we could get a little break out of the range. Could just bounce in between this range for a little bit. But either way, space, I think, is a place to be. ASTS, same thing. This could be a little oopsies, a little bear trap, a little look below and fail. From failed moves comes fast moves. This is what I mean right there. That low breaks it, fails. There's opposite end range is target. So it's pretty close to it already. I wouldn't be chasing this already, especially after a 10% move on Thursday. So I don't know. IREN, interesting area. It is below the 200, so be mindful of that. NBIS, I think, is another long-term name. It's got a nice little bottom here. It's got a nice little base. It broke this level. First pullback set a higher low here. Now it's trying to break this 110-ish again. BAIF, this is just consolidating. This has had a huge move. It's not really doing anything. It's kind of time correcting / digesting. But it's under $5. I don't touch them. I wouldn't touch them if I were you either. But this is never financial advice. Micron broke this consolidation here. Found this prior support bounce. So we got to wait to see what happens here. We're getting to the important ones. AMD, it's just watch it. NVIDIA has nothing to say about it. SOC, nothing really much to say about it. AMPX retesting the breakout area, pretty interesting. PLTR, go watch my other video. I already went over it. Tesla, same thing. This is just bleeding lower, nothing of interest. MSTR, I missed my trade last week of 136.50. Would have ended up pretty nicely, but my order never executed. So is what it is. ARM, in this huge consolidation area, not really doing anything, but it did break and then retest this 143 area. So maybe next target is 180. Could be a pretty decent trade. Let's move on. CCL, still ranging. Kind of broke the range-ish. I don't know. Still within those topping tails. Not super interesting right now. LIT, this is where this is where you need to pay attention. LIT, super strong name. Very volatile name. Okay, you need to understand, if you're going to be trading this name, you need to be managing your risk. Maybe do it on a smaller size, but it's a very volatile name. Yet at the same time, it is a very strong name. It's a place to be, right? That's part of the challenge, is knowing where to be and when to be there. CIEN, look at this, nice. It's trending. It's going up, right? This is a place to be. FSLY, this is a place to be. Just be mindful, they've had some pretty strong moves. AEHR, nice base, breakout, comes back, retests it, and then launches off of it. Look at the volume. This is a place to be, okay? So pay attention to that. Dell, breakout, retest, pushes out. place to be. So my top looks, I think this week, I'm going to say Dell. I'm going to say AEHR, just a little bit of rest on this one. Dell, I think, is actionable, maybe a little pullback within this 169 area. FSLY, it's a little extended, just be mindful. But overall, these are the names you need to at least be looking at, including SNDK here. And then there was one up here as well. I'll have them on my, what's it called? My thumbnail, anyways, for you guys to look out at. Okay. Look, I want to be crystal clear about FinX Weekly. These are high risk names. Nike at a 9-year low with profits down 35%. SMCI with a class action lawsuit. Intel trading at 50x forward earnings with negative free cash flow. Sandisk is up almost 1,500% in 14 months, right? Mara selling in a third of their Bitcoin, pivoting to AI. Every single one of these reasons and the other names that I went over, they have reasons to be careful. There's a reason why they flow on FinX. You just have to know where to be, when to be there, and how to manage your risk. But every single one of them also has a reason FinTwit is paying attention, right? So the value of the segment isn't telling you to buy these names. It's to make sure you know what the narratives are before they go mainstream. Nike, if Hill's turnaround gets real traction at a 9-year low, SMCI, if the AI bid overwhelms illegal noise, there's a thought. I don't know the answers, but it's a thought. INTC, if TAN keeps executing on the restructuring, SNDK into April 30th, earnings catalyst, Mara, if the AI pivot is real and Bitcoin cooperates, right? So watch the chart, manage your risk, and do not size into these like you size into a blue chip or names that you are familiar with. If you're not familiar with a basket of names, I highly recommend you do that. If you want to see the levels I'm watching in real time, come find me at on X. I'm part of a trading group called the Fish Pond mentorship. It's absolutely awesome. Links are below. So subscribe if you haven't. We do this every single week. I'll see you next week. Later.